We live in a world today where too many people just talk and take no action. They want everything to be perfect before starting but end up not starting at all. They like to put the blame on others and circumstances to hide their insecurities and make themselves feel better. I was that person who never took responsibility and always put the blame on someone or something. I would talk and play the blame game, but my actions would never follow. Oh, the reason why my life is like this is because I'm dumb and not smart. He was lucky, that's why he's so successful. Life is so unfair. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. No wonder I never progressed in life and was always stagnant. Everything changed when I decided I'm going to follow through my words and not play the victim mode. It was the best medicine I could have given myself, and it was the start of my life completely changing around. I left home, left the corporate world, cut most of my friends that were dragging me down, and went on to start an education company. I was working in the shadows for 5 years behind closed doors. Everything in my life changed 360 degrees. I now became the victor and not the victim. In this video, I'll be sharing 4 lessons I learned from my experience when it comes to doing and not talking, and how you can use these lessons to become the victor and not the victim. The first lesson is to stop overthinking. Most like to overthink things before doing anything. Some just spend their whole time in thinking mode and get lost in all the thoughts. There's nothing wrong with thinking, and it's actually needed. However, you lose the benefits of it when it becomes excessive and obsessive. Overthinking things will not get you 3 steps forward. It will hinder your progress and stop you from making a decision. I used to be very indecisive. Whenever I wanted to make a purchase that required a lot of money up front, whether it was for the business or sometimes even personal, my mind would go in overthinking mode and I was not able to make a decision. I will be playing out all different scenarios in my head and thinking, if I do this, then this could happen. If I don't do this, then this would happen. I was bombarded with thoughts left and right and could not even think. It got to the stage that it would take me months before I made a decision because I was so indecisive. I realized that I can't be doing this every time, as there will be many situations where I will need to make a swift decision and move forward. I can't be spending this amount of time overthinking. The world is moving and I am not moving. Once I came to the conclusion that I needed to change and stop this overthinking habit, I started to look at decision making in a very different light. I looked at it as a very simple process. I weighed out the pros and cons and looked at which one outweighs which. From there, I have more grounding and facts that I can base my decision on, as opposed to it being an emotional decision. It did not matter to me if the decision was good or bad in the end. You know why? I made the decision, not anyone else. Which means that whether it was a good or bad decision, it comes back on me and I take full responsibility for it. I can't blame anyone else for this because they did not make the decision. If the move was a bad move, then that's great. It's my mistake and I will learn from it. It will only make me a better person because now I know not to do that again. It's all perspective and relative to the person and how they are able to see things. Decision making is part of life, and I look at it as a navigator to your journey. Each decision will navigate your path in life. If you find yourself always overthinking and can't make a decision, this 4-step guide will help you to resolve this. I use this guide till this day when I struggle to make a decision. The first step is to set yourself a deadline. Procrastination thrives in the absence of clear timelines. To avoid this, establish a deadline for making your decision. Write down the deadline and hold yourself accountable to it. The second step is to gather information efficiently. Sometimes excessive information can become a form of procrastination in and of itself. Trust me, I've been through that many times. Focus on gathering essential information that will help you towards making a decision. Find reliable sources and set a time limit for gathering the information. This will prevent you from getting lost in endless search for more data. The third step is to weigh the pros and cons. Once you have your information, create a list of pros and cons that you have associated with each options you have. Have a table that states the benefits, the risks, and consequences of each option. This step will help you gain clarity towards your decision making. The fourth step is to take action. After you have weighed up the pros and cons, you now need to take action and make a decision rather than endlessly analyzing. This is where you must trust your judgment based on the information you have. Don't be afraid to make the decision. For you to get comfortable and confident in your decision making, you need to make a lot of it. Decision making is a skill that improves with practice. Remember, not making a decision is also a decision in and of itself and can lead to missed opportunities. The second lesson is to execute often. Big ideas are nothing without execution. They are just big ideas. That's it. You can have all the best ideas, best strategies in the world, but if you can't execute and take action, then it's pointless. You are a sitting duck. Action supersedes words. Full stop. You need to take action regularly. You are are not going to learn or improve by just reading or thinking about things. People talk about go read books. It's imperative and needed for self-development. It's a fundamental learning tool. I have to add something here. Reading is useless if you don't follow it with action. What are you reading for? To lie to yourself that you know all this knowledge? If you can't apply what you read in real life, then it's pointless. There is no point in you reading this because you can't even apply what you just read practically in the real world. What's the use? That's not knowledge. There's no substance behind it. It's nothing. Think about it like this. You just read something and you don't apply what you read straight away. You carry on life as normal. I guarantee you will forget what you read within a week because you have not applied it practically in a way that will stick in your mind. Don't read if you can't apply what you read. It's like this. You can learn all the driving theory there is to know, how to drive the car, how to maneuver the car, the do's and the don'ts. But until you go out there and drive the car for yourself, practical application, you are not going to learn and improve in the real world. You will gain more wisdom in taking action than someone who is in the stands and doing nothing. Most don't want to take action because they are either too lazy or too afraid to fail. You are already failing by not taking action. John C. Maxwell said, the only way you can get ahead is to fail early, fail often, and fail forward. And the only way you can do this is by taking action consistently. So how do you take action consistently? Well, the first step is you need to set yourself a goal and be specific about the goal that you want to achieve. Establish your goals first and make sure these goals are measurable and have a defined timeline. Is it to start up a business and make a certain amount of revenue per year? Is it to be on a certain salary? Is it to buy a house? Is it to build muscle and be on a certain weight? Is it to have a family? When you have a clear target to work towards, it becomes easier to take action consistently because you now know what you are working for. The second step is to create a routine around these goals that you want to achieve. This will make sure you give dedicated time to taking action consistently. Make sure this is a non-negotiable time period of your schedule. Treat it as sacred and commit to showing up consistently. This could look like setting 1 hour per day on the goal you are working towards, and as you start progressing more and more, you increase that time because it requires more of your attention. Action without a schedule will be very short-lived. The schedule will allow you to stay accountable to taking those actions consistently and not deviate. The third step is you need to hold yourself accountable and track your progress. Are you following through your schedule and staying on track? If you are, the next thing you should be looking at is if you are making progress. It's one thing being able to stay consistent on your schedule, but it's another to see if you are making progress or not. If you are not making progress, look at why this is the case. Where are you going wrong? What are you missing? What is it that you can improve on? For example, you've been going to the gym consistently, but you have not seen any progress in terms of your weight or your overall physique. Why? Some factors you can look at is look at the workouts you are doing, look at the intensity of those workouts, look at your diet and your calorie intake, look at your lifestyle outside the gym, look at the hours of sleep you get. If you're honest with yourself and open-minded to tweaking and changing things, progress will be inevitable. The third lesson I learned is to work in the shadows. I'm going to become an entrepreneur. I'm going to start this new venture. I'm going to become an MD. Stop it. This is what most people do. They just talk, share it with other people, letting them know of their big moves when they haven't even stepped into the arena yet. It's cringe to say the least. You're sharing it for an ego boost you already lost before even starting. The fact you are sharing it to get validation already tells me that your actual why for why you are doing this in the first place is weak and not genuine. The moment you experience your first sign of hardship, you will give up and move on to something else. This is how 99% of people operate. If your reasons are authentic and genuinely coming from the heart, you will not feel the need to share what you are doing with the world. People will come to you naturally. You don't need to show off or act a certain way to give this image of yourself. When I started the education company, I was working in the shadows for 5 years. I cut myself from society and I was tunnel vision in what I was building. I didn't care about telling people what I was planning to do or be the center of attention. I only told my very close circle of very few people, and that was enough. For everyone else, I was working behind closed doors. You see, when you put yourself out there and tell everyone what you are doing and what you are going to do, you are now in the spotlight, which is not a bad thing. But it now becomes a bad thing and your reputation would take a hit if you did not follow through what you said you were going to do. You will be now seen as fake and phony, a person who just says things but can't follow through. Is this the type of person that you want to be seen as? Instead, focus on working in the shadows. Whatever goals you want to achieve, tell only the very, very few people that are going to be there with you no matter what, that are going to be rock solid during the turbulent, challenging, hard times that are going to come, that are going to be able to pick you up when you are brought down, because they know that the path and the vision that you have for yourself is so great that they believe in you and they're going to bring you back on that path so you can keep moving forward. The rest, you don't need to worry about it, because they are not going to be there when the going gets tough. They are not going to be there to support you. You don't need to think about them, you don't need to worry about them, and you don't need to care about them. They are just outside noise. If you have the right people in your circle, it will make the journey of you working in the shadows that much easier. If you stick it through long enough, you will see your actions and the results you bring will naturally get people coming to you. They will start appearing from nowhere. Your consistent actions in the shadows will start to reap dividends. People will respect you more because they see you as someone who doesn't showboat, who is authentic, genuine, and humble. Someone who just keeps going without feeling the need to seek validation or show off, because you are confident in yourself and you know what you want in your life. Big, big difference. The fourth lesson I learned is to let the results speak for itself. Results speaks 1,000 words than the words being spoken. If you are able to produce results on a consistent basis, you do not need to speak. Your results is speaking for you and people will be able to see this. I remember when I started with one client, and getting that first client was a huge struggle in itself. My only aim with that client was to give the best possible service I can and make sure that they get full value from it. They did, and they spread the word to others about my services. Again, this was a very slow process, but the clients were able to see the results I was bringing for them, and it worked. It's a fantastic feeling when you are able to get immense results for your clients, but I did not let that feeling get the best of me and start showing off. No, I still carried on working in the shadows. I let my results speak for itself and let the client do the talking. Eventually, one client told another, another told another, and so on, so forth, to the point where eventually word of mouth was my power tool. I did not need to market my services. The clients were doing that for me. Why were they doing this? Because of the immense results I was producing for them. You see, people can tell when you're doing things from the heart and not just for the money. My focus was purely on getting the results. I did not care about validation, getting attention, making myself a big person. No, results, value, and impact. That was all that mattered to me, nothing else. This is the power of what results can do if you genuinely care about your customers and the service you are providing for them. It's not about you, it should never be about you. Your customers are your number one priority, and results should be what you are striving for. Don't let a small bit of success get in your head. God gives you certain things in life to see if you can handle it. It's a test. Be humble, be grateful, and keep striving for more. So what are you waiting for? Enough of the talk and get to work. Everything starts from zero. When are you going to start? Peace.